Yo, what's poppin', gamers? I just realized I don't have any music. Rare no music chat. What's poppin', gamers? Can I look at your portfolio now? Probably not. Probably at another time, unfortunately. But hello, Red Fox. What's up, dog? Well, you've come to the right place. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you're all chilling, vibing, gaming, eating good. No webcam today. No webcam. But, yeah. Challenge 22. Thank you to Lily for providing the reference document. Lots of cool stuff. Check this out. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and get started. All right. First up, in order of how they posted them. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Hello. Delight. Let's check out Delight's work. We're gonna be using these as like the main guides to follow. Um, so if you find something different, I apologize. Um, so as far as the model goes, these cuts here feel a little too blobby. They have a pretty hard edge. Um, they feel a little too soft, I think. Uh, what else we got? Like this should be a little bit more rounded. Is there a different reference? Oh, there's a budget. Hold on, actually, I remember. I posted some specific reference. Okay, looks like there's a few different knobs you could have done, but the one that I see, it looks like it has a bit more of a rounded fillet here. There's a couple of other ones that look like they're like made of plastic that you could have done, but yeah, it looks cool. What else we got? That good. Transition looks good. I think this thing's supposed to be a slight bit thinner. Hello, DickArt69. What's up, dog? Nice. That's a good one. Oh, what's up, Cohen? Yeah, this one had hella challenges. Thank you for the follow, DickArt, by the way. All right. Um, good. Yeah, we had 8 challengers this time, so lots of good stuff. I think it should be slight bit sharper right there. This looks correct. That looks good. That looks good. These ones are slightly different, but I will assume you found a different reference for those. Yeah, I see where you got that. Cool. Yeah, the only thing that really bothers me is this should be a little bit sharper, I feel like. As far as the bottom goes, looks like all this is correct. That's correct. Nice, nice. Cool, very cool. Good stuff. Nice. I like how they put this giant like radioactive symbol on it. It almost looks like yours should probably be a little bit bigger. Hey, Lily. Um, but it looks pretty good though, I think. Pretty good. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. That's all the feedback I have for that, I think. For the model, look at that. I like how low you went here. I think there's a few others that went pretty dense right here, but they could have gone really low, and I like that. I like that. What are you at, by the way? 18.8K tries. Where's all that geo at? That's interesting. This screw is super dense. I don't think it needs to be that dense. Well, good luck to you, Mr. Dickart69. Good luck. May the polygons treat you well. You could probably kill some of this geo here. Um, looks good. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, that could kill. You could probably kill some of this geo right here, like a little bit. That's getting pretty nitpicky though, I think. Um, Other than that, I think it's pretty good. It's a little hard to tell how dense you went, like in these corners, but it looks pretty fine. And then I always like to do on lenses, just collapse all of this geo. Because it's just going to bake down pretty flat, so I don't really need to see that. This guy down here is a little too dense, I think, compared to the other details. What else we got? Flux VFX, thank you for the follow, dude. Appreciate it, dog. What else we got? What else we got? I think that's about all I got. That's pretty good. Yeah, nice work. Nice work. Oh, let's look at the UVW. Cha-ching! Nice. You could probably take in some of these like rings and straighten them out, but depends on where that is. And then something like this is so close to being straight, you might as well just straighten it. Also for 4K, I don't think you need this much padding. It seems like kind of a lot. I think if you made it a bit tighter, you'd get a bit more res out of it. Also, I feel like these are N-gons right here. Are those not N-gons? Maybe I'm tripping. Yeah, aren't these, isn't this one giant N-gon? Interesting. Oh, we're already feedbacking. What else we got? That's good. And then the glass, nice. Cool. All right, let's look at the texture. Textures are pretty good. The only thing I'm not really a fan of is this line stuff. I'm sure it's probably in one of these references. I haven't seen it yet. Um, Most references I see kind of have this look to it. I will say when you zoom out a little bit, kind of looks like metal. Like it might be hard to see on stream, but it kind of feels like metal brushing almost. Um, doesn't really feel like rubber. It feels too noisy compared to references have like a smooth, rubbery, plastic sort of look to them. Let me find the ones that I attached. Make sure we're all consistent here. Yeah, so these are the ones that I attached. Let's see. These are typically the ones that I want to follow for texture references and stuff. Feels a little too grainy, I think, yeah. Stream looks fine. Cool, cool. Oh, we feedbacking tonight, bro. We're gonna be here for 7 hours. Yeah, so a bit too noisy, I think. Voice correct. These things feel too blurry compared to that reference that we saw that Lily was kind enough to attack right here. There's a very hard edge where these Picatinny rail teeth are. Right now it feels very blurry. And it kind of just looks like a paintbrush was brushed across a few times. Other than that, this huge scratch right here, I'm not really a fan of. I'm not really a fan of scratches that go like in and out of crevices, kind of like that. It just makes it feel like a generator or a fill layer was applied. What else we got? What else we got? Yeah, some of the scratches feel a little random, I think. Like here and here. A little random feeling. I think this dust is a little much. Yeah, just too noisy overall, I think. Yeah, I feel like maybe the sharpen filter was turned up a bit too much too. Also, I'm not a big fan of fingerprints that just go over crevices like this as well. It's kind of like unnatural how that would happen. I'm not, because I mean this thing, I mean your finger would probably get in there, but like it wouldn't like be so perfect like this, you know. Feels a little unrealistic. All down here I think looks cool. This yellow piece looks kind of cool. I didn't see that in any of the references. Oh, there it is. Oh, cool. Looks cool. I think some of this orange stuff could be blended in a bit better. And probably toss these like red specks all over the place. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I'd probably kill the noise on that too. Is that a dubstep like group? Kill the noise? Yeah, these scratches going over. I think this is supposed to be like a screw in here. Or I'm a little uninformed. Looks like that should be a screw, right? Trying to find the reference for that one. Yeah, it looks like a screw, so you gotta be careful with like just putting scratches going straight over all the crevices like that. I don't recall those bits being screws. Well, nonetheless, there's some sort of a milling detail and then a scratch that's going over it without any concern for what's going on. Edgeware looks cool. This stuff looks great. Cool. I will say where are they? These guys look kind of cool. I think there's a little too much of the random scratching, but I think they look pretty good overall. Pretty nice stuff. Thank you, Delight. Very good submission. Thank you. Next up is Frozy. Frozy? Let's check it out. Went with the cool green paint version. Nice. Looks like you went with this version. Okay. The kill flashes is such a cool little thing. You don't see that in a whole lot of games these days, I don't think. We're gonna talk about this later. This is like a see me after class type of note. um, looks pretty accurate, I think. Yeah, a whole lot. That looks nice. Probably round this out a little bit more. A lot of the references have that. Teeth look good. You have an underside. There we go. Where was that under? Oh, this is reversed. Okay. Hmm. I think I should not. Cool. Looks cool. I don't see a whole lot wrong with it, other than what you could have done was added a bit more of a gap here. It would help it feel less like a 3D model that just has like an edge loop here. Um, also, it looks like this should be a bit rounded. Almost feels too perfect of a shape here. I think it should be a little bit more rounded. And then probably the same thing here. Would have added a bit more of a fillet here. But other than that, these look cool. Looks good. Yeah, looks cool. I don't see much else, I don't think. I like the sharpness of these. That feels correct. Trying to find some other stuff to give you feedback on. Yeah, a nice gap here would be really cool. I like what I said earlier. I think this chamfer is supposed to like meld up. Kind of see it going this way. It feels too much like a perfect little chamfer fillet that you did, and then you filleted this curve right here. It's supposed to be a little bit more complex than that, I think. All right, cool. A little ref for the screw part into the Discord. Yes. Yeah. Okay, so it's not a screw. Okay. So it's a pin with a screw that goes through. So you're saved. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, I feel like the detailing you have here feels too much like screws or something. A little confused with it when I look at it, but anyways. Okay, let's move on to the low poly. We could kill a lot of this geo here. Kill a lot of that geo as well. Ooh, big thing, big thing. Do we have a better view of it? Well, let's look at it from here. The silhouette here is super low, but this screw is super dense, so you should lower the detailing here and then work on this outer silhouette here because it looks pretty rough right here. And we can see that here, here. But this thing inside has like 24, 32 sides. The outside only has like 12. Called it. Nailed it. 12. Kind of the same thing here. I think we're going to see some. You see a little bit of faceting on this one. It's a little low. Is it worth it to learn Unreal Engine? Absolutely. Absolutely. Probably kill some of this geo too, just like collapse some of these edges. You don't need this round of a silhouette. I don't think we barely even see it. Um, these curves are pretty dense compared to like the screw. I'd probably want to see like less geo on these and then more geo on this rounded piece. How many tries were it? 14.692. I'm not sure where 18K came from on this one, but anyways. Because this one almost feels a little more dense. You might even need more here as well. Feels a little too low. Everything else I think looks good though. Yeah, I think we're all good there. That all looks pretty optimal. Cool. Let's look at the UVs. I think this is the two lenses that you moved out. I see. Okay. Yeah, too much padding, I think. We're baking at 4K. You don't need this much padding. Other than that, it's good. All good. I would have just repacked real quick. It takes 2 seconds to rebake. Especially if you have your files all saved, like just load the new mesh into Marmoset and rebake and it's kind of done. You know. It does suck if you're texturing and you have UV based stuff, but you know. Yeah, probably just less padding, I think. Okay, on to the texture. Cool stuff here. I think there's too much color variation. It almost feels like two different colors of paint. There's like a yellow paint and then a green paint. I don't think it's supposed to really look like that. It's almost like too artistic. You know what I mean? Typically it's just kind of supposed to feel like one piece of paint. Maybe if this was like a more of a desaturated like green, so it was like worn down more. What else we got? I do like the smoother appearance. Yeah. Pretty good. A little cloudy in the textures here. I'll start clipping into the bottom here. I wish there was more variation between these two materials. Honestly, all of these materials here. In the bottom. They feel all very similar. Yeah, this thing has pretty... We're also missing like the brown look to it. That was kind of called out. Like we got brown. These are supposed to be like a plasticky rubber if you wanted to go that way. The red base. Otherwise, it kind of just reads like a standard black metal. Here, this brushing effect feels pretty wrong. It's like bending. I don't know how a Picatinny rail would bend like that. I think I know which grunge map you're using too on it, but I'd probably just stick to like this. I see there's like a little bit here, but I don't see that happening on this intensely. It also feels very samey. You could tell like on the corners it wears out a little bit more, and it kind of fades off into the middle. That's a cool detail I would have added too. Kill flash looks cool. Cool. I do like the rubber. The rubber looks kind of good. I think it's like lacking something. I think it's lacking like a interesting like height pattern. It feels kind of flat. All of the references have a pretty exciting, interesting bump going on to it. Yeah, it feels a little generic. I can kind of tell you're using a generator here and like a fill layer multiply maybe on top of it. I think that's about all I got. Some of the wear also looks a little like blurry almost. For 4K, we should have pretty good resolution on this thing. And I feel like we could have gotten a little bit sharper. Um, looks a little too like, not too sure, like, I don't know, smoky? I don't know if that's the best word to describe it, but it doesn't really feel like worn metal here. It feels like white scuff. If that makes sense. See, this stuff is looking kind of good. I like that. I like this stuff. But all right. Thank you, Frozy. Frozy. That's a very good submission. Let's move on. Dark Blade 909. 13K tries, very nice. All right. Let's take a look. Take a propaganda. Nice. Nice. Got this transition right. I feel like some of these other ones didn't get that transition. But this one does this one does feel right. That looks right. That looks boom. Okay, so difference in references. Damn them for making so many different versions of this thing. Just make one, bro, for real. Make one and make it perfect, dog. I do really redo that. Yeah, it's kind of a tricky little one. It's kind of hard to see also in the references. You got to get a very specific like lighting angle to see it. I feel like we went a little too sharp on these corners. I feel like the fillet on here should be a tad bit fatter. Eh, that one might be me. Also, it looks like these should be a tiny bit softer too. Kind of all around here. What else we got? We got a cool little gap here. Well, not really here. Cool. You got that smooth little transition. Cool, cool. Nice. Very good. Oh, yeah. Let's see what you got on the bottom. And a lot of the references, these are nice, a little softer than I think they. I think you should have done that. It would have made it feel a little bit more. I don't know. Less CG, because I mean, just having hard edges just makes things feel like 3D models. But if you had a nice juicy fillet on it, yeah, I think it would have been a little bit cooler. Bottom looks good to me. That looks good. Why did they put this like not centered? I don't. Probably some reason for it. But oh, here's a nice view of the bottom. Like, why would they do this? Like, why? Gun experts, please let me know. Reddit users, please let me know. I have some notes about this red material, and I'm not quite Not ready to go over it yet, but oh, look at this. This is a cool detail. I think we missed that on the other ones. Nope, we got them. Never mind. I just missed it. Nice work. Cool. They want to be edgy. True. Real shit. Um. Looks good. Looks good. I think that's all I got. This is pretty well done. Bloody lovely. That's bloody lovely. All right. Low poly time. A lot of this geo can be removed. Don't think we need this dense of a fillet. Instead, you should have put that geo more towards this outside silhouette. Think we can see it. Yeah, we can see it pretty hard. Your art director come back and ask you to put more geo there. I guarantee. Let's see what else we got. Probably collapse these edges here. This inner piece looks more dense than the outer piece. This edge right here. Kind of a no-no. Probably reduce some of these edge loops as well. Hydrate time. Time to hydrate. Dude, I'm actually out of water. Yeah, I'm out of water. I know, I know. No webcam today. Now I gotta go get some water. Where's the water? Over there. Shit. What else we got? Yeah, these screws feel a little dense compared to the geo around them, I think. A little hard to see how much detail you put in here, but it looks like you just put like one edge and then like a little triangle here, followed by another edge, another edge. That's probably good. You don't need to go into any more detail than that, I don't think. You probably collapse down to a triangle here. But that's getting pretty nitpicky. Although I would increase this curve right here. Yes, very much so. This guy feels pretty dense. And then I think we're going to see some faceting on this guy. Without the voice crack. Nah, but we'll talk about your renders in a second. You probably straighten out this guy. I mean, I feel like this guy you could probably get straight too. A little bit of skewing here would be fine. What else we got? No, those points were not wasted. I just gotta go running. I have to gather up the courage to go get that. There's like an end gun here. Make sure you apologize your end gun. Probably just straighten this guy out too. It'll bake a lot cleaner. Other than that, thing looks pretty good. It's like a tiny bit of like wasted space, but it's like meh. Close enough. And then good stuff. 13k tries. Yeah, you could have killed a lot of this geo right here. And added that around to like this one and this one. Would have been a lot better, I think. A more effective use of geo because we're not going to see this silhouette in here. This is going to just let the bakes do all this. So yeah, that's the UVs. Let's look at the textures. All right. What I want you to do is go in your painter file, turn down the sharpen. Just we got a lot of this noise is very sharp and it's super like high frequency and it's like probably just too noisy. And then I think you rendered with also a ton of sharpen too. It feels like there's a sharpen filter on this render. So just try to tone it down, be a little careful, because then you start getting stuff like this. This just looks like soup. Yeah. I'm hungry for some soup. I think the weird down here is cool. I'm not sure where these lines are coming from. I wish I had a clearer view. I'm not. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah, it's just too noisy. The noise is really kind of ruining this, I think. Also, the fingerprints are a little random feeling, too grungy. Yeah, this stuff is getting like it's getting deep fried. Also, this red material, there's something about it that kind of makes it read like leather. I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like too saturated. It's a kind of a subtle tint. I think you went a little too strong with it, because right now it reads like a red leather. And then yeah, let's kill this high frequency like noise going on. I think that'll let it be. That'll be a lot better. Um, and then the height noise feels a little. It feels a little. I'd guess I'd say generic. I think a lot of the references have a very cool, smooth appearance with some wobbly height in there. I think this one just kind of feels like a fill layer was just stamped down in the height. Zoom on the wing nut screws. These ones? Is that what those are? Other image. This one? The orthographic renders. Like this one. Looks like no one did this like soft appearance. This like soft like plastic kind of look. Um the top side, bottom, etc. Oh, these ortho. Oh, yeah. I think what you have is a light shining directly onto the surface, and it's making it all look super grungy. Um, Also, these screws are very. Also, this one's like missing a screw. Yeah, these screws need a little bit of work, I think. But other than that, I think it's cool. I think we're good. Yeah, a little too red on this. I don't know what it is, but too red. Um, yeah, the sharpen filter is killing you. This is pretty good though. I like the wear you have on this. I think it's pretty cool. Stencil stretcher. This feels a little much, I think. Nice work. I think we're ready to move on. 3 down, 5 to go. All right. And we're 41 minutes in. Let's go. Cool. This one's from Levroux. Take a look at some side views here. Ooh, this one has some nice wear. Cool stuff. I think this transition is slightly wrong. Just to come up to like a sharper point and then curve off here. Maybe it will. I could be wrong, but I think it's supposed to. It doesn't feel quite right here. It's supposed to be a little wider, maybe? Anyways. These down here. All right, all right. You know, I haven't seen the reference you guys are following with this like sharp edge here. I'll probably round it out. Tape. All right. I think I saw the reference you guys are following. Here's the right side. That looks pretty accurate, I think. Kind of the same thing as the other one. I probably could have gone softer on these. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I did not, however, see the reference where there's a seam here. Oh, well, there it is. But I think this piece is too thin. Yours is too thick. I mean, yours is too thick. Maybe a little bit thinner. And I think it would have added more the grates, whatever you want to call it. Actually, I'm curious to the other guys. Looks like everyone kind of added like fewer. Oops, wrong one. Also, they should be a little bit more, not perfectly hexagonal, but a little flatter. Something like that. Instead of perfect hexagons. Modeled in the Elcan logo. That's cool. Same thing with this transition here. It's supposed to be kind of like a, have like a smooth wobbly thing going on. Actually, so many different references. Now that I see it, it doesn't do that here. But it does look a little smoother then. Do you review all submissions or just the best? I do review them all because they are all Take a look at the bottom. Do you have a bottom? There we go. Cool, cool. I feel like this piece in the middle is too thin. It's like, it feels slightly too thin. I think it's supposed to go to like here. Or just slightly thinner than that. Hell yeah. Get him next time. Other than that, I think it looks good. I like the small gaps you put here. Fire. Good stuff. Cool. What else we got? That. Oh, these holes. I would have modeled in the like internal hole on them. Then just fill it with black diffuse and black roughness. Or is it white roughness? White roughness. Sorry. Also, I think this curve here is supposed to be a little bit more subtle. Which leads me to believe that this drum, this cylindrical part here, is too thin. It should come out a little, maybe? Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, this angle here feels off, and I'm not quite sure why. I'd have to look at the model itself, but why would you have done the black diffuse? Just to give it a fake hole, so that you don't actually like see inside of it. Because here, it's very hard for light to get in here, so it's just gonna always kind of be a big shadow. So if you make it super dark and rough, it's gonna just hold a lot of light, and it won't like reflect, you know, to look like a hole. It's like an easy way to fake holes. Yeah, now that I look at it, the drum is too. Alright, let's look at the low poly. A lot of geo here we don't need. Ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So what you should have done was kill like 90% of this geo here. Let it bake. The bakes handle it. And added probably like 3 or 4 more edge loops going around. Also, take a look at this curve. Much more dense than this huge curve that needs it. Same here. Also, try to even out the edges too. Like this edge is supporting this distance, but this edge here only has to go this distance, you know. Try to even it out a little bit more. We got some problems here. I would probably take these verts, snap them to here, make it nice and clean. It's also a little too low right here. Too low right here as well. What are you tries are we at? We're at 15k tries, okay. And it's all going to right here. Yeah, reduce this by a lot. Everything else is looking decent. Too low. What is this curve? Screw heads are missing on this one. Screw heads are missing on this one. Oh yeah, those screws in the middle are missing. So this is too low. This is much too low for this cylinder going around. Look at the piece underneath it. It has like the same density. It doesn't really make sense to something that's less visible have more density than a rounded piece that has a lot of visibility, you know. Also, these things are supposed to be pretty thick now. Where is it? Yeah, these things are supposed to be extend in pretty thick. At least thicker than what we got here. Okay. This detail is so small, you could probably just bake it down. Also, this doesn't make sense. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 curves, 6 edges here, which makes a nice curve, but then only 4 right here. So we need to add 2 to match what you got going on there. Need some more geo here. So overall, I think we could have used the geo a bit better. But looking pretty good. UVs, grab one of these edges and straighten it so that we can straighten this whole thing along these edges so they're not all diagonal in the UVs. Able to bake a lot cleaner that way. Same here. What is this actually? Why do you have 2 of these? Is one of those the back side of this? In that case, it could probably just be deleted or scaled down significantly. I'd probably take this ring, straighten it out to a strip. Also, it has varying density on it, which is a little odd. It's not great. It's not a great idea to do that, I don't think. Unless you really needed to crunch this thing, but I don't. What was the try count I called? Around 15K. Okay, so you're at the budget. I think you could have used it a little bit. Yeah, we got a lot of missing space up here. Empty space. But other than that, the rest looks straight. Probably go for like less padding, probably. Breaking up 4K, you can go a little tighter. Also grab one of these shells and just straighten it along one of these edges. So at least one part of it is straight, you know. Alright. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's fine. And then let's look at the textures. So the textures, um, hmm. I feel like it's almost not PBR correct. Hydrate. Got me water. I think it's too grungy. And I think this feels very noisy compared to the kind of smooth appearance. I'm not a fan of these yellow stains here. I think you're trying to do dust. Not quite working great. Feels very blurry. If you zoom out, it just kind of looks like, well, blurry kind of smudges. Very low poly here. Also, you can see the bakes where the bake arcs because of the high poly mismatch. Yeah, I feel like this material feels very grungy. It feels like something you'd see kind of out of like COD 4. You know, it's very noisy. It doesn't feel very close to the references that we called out. We're kind of going for this brown metal. It feels like kind of a greenish, yellowish metal. Some of the wear you have is pretty cool though. Some of this stuff is pretty cool. The tape is interesting. Yeah, I think overall, I think it just feels like noise as opposed to like stenciled in, placed and intentional details. It feels a bit too much just like kind of noise. Yeah, like some of this wear just gets like blends in with all the noise and it kind of looks like a white paint streak, I think. Also, this should be a little less glossy. Yeah, this thing, the kill flash is pretty matte. That's kind of how I've seen most of them. This one's a little more metallic, but I feel like everything here is pretty glossy. It would have been cool to have some like more matte pieces for like material separation and stuff. These teeth stick out too far, I think. No, I think you're good. Ignore that. I do think there might not be enough teeth. It almost feels like there should be a bit more teeth. I'm not too sure. Without going into like super intense detail and like counting it. Also, I would have made this piece a little like stand out a little bit more as a metal. Also, we're getting pretty dark down here. Try to avoid like total black areas in the concept, or in the not the concept, yeah, render. I mean, count 8 before they separate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 here. But anyway, something to double check. Yeah, we could see that poly so bad. Right? Very prominent. Yeah, I think just like too much cloudy specular details. I feel like you textured this in metal in spec gloss. Could be wrong, but just if you put too much white in the spec channel, it leads like super old school. Which I mean, it looks cool. It would look cool in like DayZ, you know. So, hell yeah, train. Um, I also forgot to go over the favorite render of each one. Hold on 1 second. Damn, can't believe I forgot. These ones have really good lighting. I like this one. I think this one's pretty well. I think these two are pretty good. But I like this one a little better. And then favorite render here, favorite render. This one has a nice lighting setup. Yeah, I like the lighting on that one. All right. And then I do like this render too. That render looks cool. I think that's all I got. Yeah, probably try to dial back like noise. Try to go for more like intentional detailing. And then I think the rubber here feels a little not rubber. I don't know what the material it is. I'm just gonna call it rubber. It feels a little too generic with like just kind of a generic grainy noise. Okay, thank you, Leroux. Excellent submission. Jose Luis Pellegrino. Welcome to the challenge. Welcome to the challenge. Talk about this later. Oh yeah, that's true. What is this detail right here? Is that a detail that I never saw? It looks like it should. It's like skewed. Like we're missing the paint skew on it, maybe. But anyways, this all looks good. That looks good. This looks good. This here feels a little too sharp. feel like we messed up this transition a tiny bit. There's a number and some dots in it normally. Oh, okay. Let's get a better view of that. I would have gone a little softer here, then round out the silhouette a little bit here. What are we at, by the way? It's 13.6. Okay. Okay. Cool, cool. I think this feels right. 7 again. Maybe we're wrong. I don't know. Like this should be a little bit thinner here, and this should be a bit more rounded, according to this reference. Also, we're kind of missing this little cut right here. Pretty subtle detail, but we are missing. Cool. Oh, that's my alarm. All right. Looks like in most of the references I see, it looks like there should be a little more rounded here. Then other than that, you got a cool gap here. With screws. 7 is right. Okay, cool. Maybe I was wrong then. It looks pretty solid though. The rest looks pretty good. I think maybe this part of the dial should be a tad bit shorter. It kind of feels like that. Feels like the numbers are a bit taller, maybe. Yeah, it looks like this section is bigger than this section here. Oh, there's 7. Yeah, I'll double check that. Okay. I think that's all I got there. Cha-ching. Nice. We can't even see that in the render. Look at that. Boom. Optimized. Nicely done. This is pretty dense down here. I'd be careful with that. That feels pretty dense as well. Interesting that you chose to model this in. I think I already called it out, but I'd probably round these out more. This one feels less like a boolean was stuck in here like perfectly. You know, you did this like boolean. Anyways, enjoy my shitty drawing. What else we got? Hello, train, my old friend. This is peculiar. So this edge here has more density than this outside edge. Usually the way it works is the inside edge gets less than the outside edge. So I'd collapse all these again, and then collapse these as well. I think we're good though. That feels. I don't think we have a better view of that little detail, but that feels pretty. Or something that's small. Same thing here. That's a lot of edges for a detail that's could probably be baked down or like half res of that. Um, I think that's all I got. These microfillets might need to be reduced a little bit more, but who's keeping score? I am. I am keeping. And then I'm worried we might see some of that too. Yeah, we can see a little bit of faceting. We'll probably take some of that geo and just round out some of these a bit more. These little things are too wide. It feels like it doesn't feel like the biohazard sign here. It feels like a circle with I don't know. These things are too long. Okay, let's go to the UV. That's probably good. That's probably good, yeah. Probably fine. Yeah, I think we're probably chilling. Big chilling. Big chill. Yeah, this screw is super dense. I don't think it needs to be that dense. You could probably like grab this one and straighten it, but like probably this one too. But it's packed so nicely, you know. If it looked bad in the bakes, then I'd probably do it, but we're at 4K. We're not getting good bakes at 4K. We got some problems. I think these look good. Nice. Cha-ching. All right. Textures. I like the way we're reading here. Little cloudy. This white noise is like scattered very evenly throughout the whole thing. It's a bit much. Is that just my monitor? No, there's like a blue line here. Do you guys see that too? Yeah, that's showing up in Twitch. Not sure what that is. But it doesn't look too hot. I kind of tell I think you're edge generating. A lot of this looks very linear. Looks like you have some pretty random feeling clouds here. A big stencil error right here. This material down here needs a bit of a rework. It's not quite right. It's like these specks need to go. They're not really blending in nicely. These random scratches need some more work. You have these large, blurry, kind of blobby shapes that don't really read like anything. And then these teeth feel very... From a distance, the material kind of reads good, but when you like zoom in at like a normal distance, it doesn't feel right. Also, is this piece even supposed to be metal like that? Not really. It's supposed to be a painted metal. Also, we're missing the brown. That was like, I called that out. Um, this doesn't feel right. I think we're missing like a fillet here. Um, also, we're missing this cut here. Like, I think the bottom needs a bit more work. This isn't really feeling great. These could use some more wear, like all here. Fill this with a black void. You don't see it. I'm a fan of the rubber, like right here. But it has a nice read right there. I like the dust you got. This screw for some reason feels really flat. Did you bake that down? That's a screw I'd probably model in just because it looks really flat right here. Yeah, this bottom piece feels very wrong. And then I can tell we're doing a linear edge generator. We can't be doing that. Same here. If you're highlighting the curvature like that, try to find a different way to do it. Use some stencils. Make it more subtle. Something. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right for the rail. Actually, yeah, this whole rail mechanism part down here doesn't feel right at all. Yeah, there's no way for this to sit on a rail. You need the angle to match the Picatinny teeth. Oh, I see where the milling came from. Nice. So, a little inaccurate in the model. These could have been a bit rounded more. Textures need a bit of work. Lighting looks pretty good though. I like this one. This one's kind of cool. I do like the dust you got kind of going on here, but it looks like it's just too flat. Like if you mix some of this noise into the dust here, it would look a lot cooler. And then also there's no large wear on this. It's just all very micro. Some cool big stuff. Not really a fan of this stuff. Too speckly. Oh, these speckles need to go. This, I think you use like a Perlin noise. Let's toss that. Pretty much just entirely. Yeah, I'm not quite a fan of this like height damage here. Doesn't feel quite right. This reference is kind of goated. Yeah, I think your height in normal maps need a bit more work. Then I'd probably toss this like red cloudy grunge too. Yeah, overall, I'm not really a big fan of how you're handling the metal. So I think that probably needs the most work. Then add some like larger areas on the rubber. I think it'd look a lot cooler. Also, this metal here doesn't look PBR correct. Oh, toss these scratches. Great. Something about this is just too grungy. All right, let's move on. let's move it on. All right. Thank you, Jose. Good stuff. All right, 3 more. Arium. Oh. All right. I think we messed up some thicknesses here. This gap here feels a little too big, I think. Time to brace yourself. Nah, this one turned out pretty cool. I like it. Hold on one second. I gotta fix my pad. All right. Let's look. Let's look. Cool. You went for the plastic screws. That's rare find these days. That's a rare find these days, but I like it. I'm not really a fan of how one of them's a different color than the other. But, anyways. This looks pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, nice soft fillets here. Oh, yeah. Very nice. Back to my references here. Find the bottom. Excellent work. Excellent. It almost looks like this is too rounded. This is flipped. Let's look at this side. It looks like we misinterpreted. It looks like it's supposed to be a rounded cut here as opposed to like a cut like. I feel like it should be something like that. Also, don't forget to rotate your screws. Ooh, this rubber has a nice look to it. Cool. Where was I? Looks like we missed the screw heads in here. I think you messed up the proportions. This thing feels too big. I think it is a. Yeah, maybe double check this. I could be wrong, but I think this thing feels slightly too big. I think. Then it looks like there's so many different references. Let's find another angle. This one's sharp right here. I think your teeth are too wide. Be a little thinner. Excellent work. Look at that kill flash real quick. It looks like you... When I look at this, it almost looks like it's all kind of one piece. Whereas yours kind of feels like two pieces. There's like a seam there. Not sure if that's accurate. Another thing with these, it looks like there's a flat surface here. It's supposed to be fully rounded in here. All right. Other than that, I think we're good. Nice. Let's move on to the low poly. We're missing the low poly. Uh, uh, uh. 2 seconds, please. 2 seconds. There we go. Sorry about that. Nice. Nice density. Good stuff. Good stuff. What are we at? 14.4, and he's under budget. Let's go. Pretty low on those lenses. Oh, and it pays off. Oh, and it pays off so perfectly. We don't even need that geo. Very nice. Very optimized. Good stuff. Nice. Maybe even a bit too low. You might see that angle, but I think so. I think you're good. Probably reduce some of this a little bit. And it's unfortunate, but we might need to add a little more here. Also, I think the kill flashing made it too. All the ones that we've seen, they're very flattened hexagon. UVs are good. Shit, shit. Yeah, low poly is pretty good. I don't see much. I don't see much else. Nice. Cool. The textures. I'd probably toss this brown specks going around. It feels very evenly placed. This looks very green down here. Is that a reference that I'm missing? No, I don't see it. Yeah, it looks a little too green as opposed to like the brown. Like the brown here is looking alright, but too green. I don't think I've seen an Elcan that has like a green bottom like that. Mm. This stuff looks cool, but it'd be cool if you like kind of followed this reference here and made it a little more subtle in the middle. Kind of varied it up a little bit, like here. Because right now it just looks like either white or not, white or not, white or not. Looks like there's like a stencil error here. I will say I'm not a huge fan of all these scratches. They all kind of look the same. They kind of all have the same like proportion to them. You know, it looks a little fake. Like I'd rather you see do more wear up like in this edge here than do some of these scratches. I'm not a big fan of this like bumpiness here. Mm. What's up, dog? What's up, dude? Not a big fan of the grunge here. Text there is cool. I think that's all like. I think it's cool. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, this guy really bothers me. Also, I would have punched this out a bit more in the height because we gets pretty lost pretty easily. I think this renders pretty. But some of the rubber areas have a nice read. I think we just gotta dial back some of this like micro star speckles. I think it'll look a lot better, I think. Alright. We'll move on for now. That's all I got. Good stuff though. Cyberpodla 17.2K, alright. See you, Cohen. See you, dude. No problem. Alright. Ooh, that looks cool. Cool. Now, where's this yellow version? You guys are finding all sorts of references. Y'all are finding all sorts of stuff. Big fan of this. That looks cool. Oh, sorry. I was supposed to be looking at the model. Look at the text. This looks good. Ooh. Ooh, that looks nice. And this kind of feels like a flat surface right here. Looks like it should be fully rounded. This looks right. Ooh, that looks correct. Good. Maybe a little sharper here. Oh, this render is really cha-ching. Nice work. I think you could have gone a bit glossier on the rubber, plastic, whatever. Feels a little flat right now, I think. Yeah, but other than that, this looks really good. I don't. Nice work, dude. I think you could round this corner out a tiny bit more. These are getting lost. I'd make them a bit stronger. Also, there's some cool details here you could have added too. No problem. Take care. Sleep tight. All right. Yeah, this one's really nice. This tape looks really good. Yeah, that tape looks sweet. Yeah, the model looks great. Nice job. Look at the low poly. Kind of the same thing. Just nuke a lot of this geo. You don't need it. Maybe you could have put that geo into micro beveling this one here. Since that's a thick rubber piece, you know, you could have put a little bit more geo into it. Or plastic, whatever. What are we at? 17.2. Okay. Not too far over budget. If you did a few reductions, you could probably get it pretty close. But I'm not seeing much. I like how deformed the flash killer. Oh, it is. Yeah, yeah. I didn't even notice that. Oh, that's cool. That's pretty interesting. What is that thing made of? What is that? What's in there? Is that like cardboard or some shit? It almost looks like it's just made of paper or something, right? That's pretty cool though. I like that detail. Thank you for pointing that out. I didn't even notice that. But now that I noticed it, it's cool. Excellent work. What does this say? Bobik? Probably reduce some of this as well. You don't need all that. Yeah, all this can go. All that can go. Yeah. Other than that, I got nothing. A regular Pepnic game. That's because kind of hoping it was a bull bear. Bull bear. Bull bear kurwa. Even got a little spring in there. I didn't even know there was a spring in there. Good stuff, dude. Hell yeah. This looks awesome. Looks like the one you modeled is different though, because this one's this. Yours is that. But I'll just assume you've had a different reference than I do. Let's look at the UVs. I can't find anything else on the low plot. That thing looks great. And the UVs look great too. Nice job. This one's a strong contender. We got a strong contender here. Textures wise, the thing about this piece here still feels like a plastic, even though I know it's supposed to be metal. What about it? Hmm. Hmm. Also, would metal wear happen right here? I guess if these slide independently of each other, then yeah, it would, but it's pretty good. I'd probably tone down this like halo-y glow effect on that, and then leaf. Yeah, it's pretty nice, dude. I don't finding a whole lot. You could potentially do more wear on this side. I like how it looks like more dust got caught in the groove part of the kill flash. Look at that. Uh, the same render? No, kind of is. I think the dust here is too strong also. Oh, this render looks super cool. It looks cool, I think. There's texture. I think the rubber is still lacking a little bit. There's a lot of like little bumps that we're missing. Specific grunges we're kind of missing. It's a little too dull too. Um, we have a render of the bottom. Um, Man, these buttons or these wing nuts look pretty cool. The dust inside might be a bit strong, but they look pretty cool. I'm trying to think of what else I could say. I really like it. I think that's all I got, honestly. Nice job, dude. Nice work. Um, yeah, I'm like struggling. You could potentially like start micro detailing this a bit more, I think, maybe. I've added a bottom render to my submission. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're out of renders, but could only do 10. Um, Yeah, the scotch tape is really well done too. Cool. All right, let's move on. Now we got Valery Kuznetsov. A pretty high try count. Let's take a look. All right. Tape? More tape. Cool. All right. So right off the bat, I think there's something up with this transition. It's not quite looking right. I think I saw the reference you pulled that from. It looks a little flat, just like a filler was applied. Needed a little more love into that detail. But let's just look at the model for it. I think we didn't go soft enough on these. Also double check the gap here. Too thick. Too thick of a gap. Elcan looks right. Looks right. Cool, cool. Bit too wide here. Wait, that's actually maybe not. Ignore that. I think these fillets are a little too loose, too soft. Got these curves right. Cool. Let's see what we can see here. A little hard to see. I think you're missing this detail. Might be right there. I'm not too sure. What else we got? I think we need to model in like a hole or something there. It looks kind of fake. Too fake, I think. Oh, your kill flash broke, bro. Cool. That's a cool detail. Nice. Unique. Not sure how that would break like that. Let's say like jammed a stick into it or something. I would expect it to break somewhere like around the edges and like sort of come off like, but I think it's cool. I think it's cool. Yeah, total sweet. 7. Yeah, like they walked into a branch really hard. Yeah, there's something going on with this transition here. It feels too blobby. We don't get a clean shape that we want. Let's look at the low poly. Oh, wait, did I miss a low poly here? I did miss your. Zoop. We're in. All right. You made this a separate geo. That's interesting. Okay. And you made the tape here a separate geo. I will say it's too dense. You could kill a lot of this and just let the bakes handle it. Too dense here. Too dense. Not enough density. This looks okay. Probably kill some of this too. Just like the other ones like I mentioned. A little hard to tell, you might have too much geo here. But this is a good density. Yeah, you might be able to get away with this in textures, I think, honestly. But anyways, let's keep moving. I like the optimization you got here. That's cool, cool. That's all I got. I wonder where 18K is going. I think the 18K is going here and then to these little tiny details. Probably kill one of these edge loops. Yeah. And then I think here is taking a lot of tries too. Let's count them all. Yep. Bad. Cool. Let's look at the UVs. This is a lot of geo here. I didn't notice that. Yeah, you don't really need this geo here. You can just weld, or honestly, just take this whole edge loop, take this edge loop, delete it, and just extrude out. And then the outside silhouette will handle it. UVs look great though, actually. Let's look at the texture. A little too blurry on this edge. The tape. Eh. Doesn't feel quite right. It feels like doesn't feel like Scotch tape is sticking to it. It feels like a shower curtain, I think. Like a thin shower curtain. Does it really say ASCII containment? It really does. This arrow is not really doing it for me. These scratches are very prominent. Probably tone those down. When I look at this, I'm not really sure what this is. So it kind of is like confusing. Like I haven't seen any references so far with that. It feels like paint, but it's got like really soft like lines in it that feel like tiger stripes. I'd probably just toss it. It might just be better that way. I don't think we went dark enough on the rubber. I think the rubber needs to go, or whatever this material is, darker. The gloss is fine. And then I'd probably toss out some of this micro noise. Toss it. And then try to build up like more interesting shapes like what you see in these references. Like I see you got this going now. Like this is cool, but it's not surrounded by similar details. It's just surrounded by this and then like super clean faces. Which is another thing I think we could have probably bumped up the wear on it. So a lot of this feels very fiddler-y. Doesn't really feel very stenciled on. It kind of feels like kind of some generic clouds were used there. This knob is kind of reading like a plasticky metal. Not really sure. I think it's too glossy, maybe. Maybe not enough bump in the noise. These numbers feel a little fake.
what I like to do is I like to do like a slight variation in like in the gloss, make them a little darker. That usually helps a little bit. Make it look a little, makes it feel a little more intentional, like it was lasered in there. And then this metal edgeware isn't really blended in; it's just kind of there. There's no like supporting scuffs to in the like in the gloss to really support it. Um, I think textures overall need a bit of work, so next one will be better. Next one will be better. Yeah, I think a little too cloudy on the wear shape. Also, it's too even. It's like a perfect triangle. Usually, you want to have it things be not so even. So like something like this. That. It's just kind of like a general thing I try to do. But I think that's about all I got. Um, yeah, I think the rubber needs quite the most work, I think. Then do we have a render at the bottom? It's a cool attempt on this though. I think it could have been maybe honed in a little better. Oh, the bottom here. Let's toss these dark heights details. Um, this screw doesn't feel deep enough. And then this material here feels like the same one that's on the knob. It feels a little too plasticky. Feels like the same material as this. Do these streams get archived or something like that? Yeah, they get uploaded on YouTube, yeah. You just gotta wait for the announcement for that. Cool. But thank you for participating. Valerie. Alright, we finished. Alright. This is a tough one, dude. I think our finalists are gonna be Ari, Cyberpadla. Hmm. This one has some very nice rendering. Very nice. I think I know what we're going to do. I think I know. I think I know what we're gonna do, guys. I think I know. The Scotch tape looks super cool. Um, I think first place is going to go to I think it's Cyberpodla. Second place. And it's close. Between these two, it's a very tough call. Oh man, I can't do it. Can't do it. Oh, I can't do it. This one sounds good. Okay, let's look at the text. Let's look at the technicals here. This one was over by 3K. This one is under by point. It's so hard to choose. I can't do it. All right. I think Delight gets the second place. And in a very close third, Arium. Super close. It was super close. I'll take it. Hell yeah. Oh man, it's so hard to decide. But, anyways, I think that'll do it. Thank you guys for participating. It was quite interesting. A lot of participants on this one too. But, anyways, I gotta head out. But again, thank you guys, and let me know if you think it was rigged or fake. And